Hey guys, it's Monday. Welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. It has been a Monday. Everything that can go wrong has gone wrong. But we're here. We're here in Nashville, and special thanks to everybody back in Dallas as well as the production team here in Nashville to get us up and rolling this morning. And it is morning. You're watching this at night, but it is morning. Trust me. And I am sitting here in the aerosol-like effervescent presence of Jason Whitlock. This is normally his studio. He's not here, but he never leaves. I just feel him over my shoulder. And we got to get this thing done before he gets in here because I don't want that large, intimidating man mad at me. A lot of things to get into today. Hope you guys had a great weekend. We did. We had a couple of great shows, full houses packed out, and lots of good times over the weekend. And I'm going to be heading to, we'll be in McKinney, Texas on Saturday night. That's the 7th, Saturday night in McKinney, Texas, there at Hank's. Get some tickets, come hang out with us, watchchad.com where all the fun stuff is. And then, of course, next week in Birmingham, actually Hoover, Alabama. Going to be over there at the Stardome. So get some tickets, come hang out, and have a good time. Lots more going on, watchchad.com. I want to talk about this Jamaal Bowman thing. We'll get to that in a minute because, of course, you know Jamaal Bowman, who is a self-proclaimed member of the squad. He pulled the fire alarm. Then he came out with a statement talking about how he was just trying to get out of the building so he could rush over to cast his vote on this whole government shutdown. But we'll get into that some more because there's a lot to make fun of on that deal. You know, Joe Biden the other day, he predicted that this might be the MAGA Republicans' last gasp. Not sure if Joe Biden has done anything to check on his current state of health, but I don't know that he should be floating the term last gasp out there so cavalierly. And then, of course, there's a COVID vaccine poll that said that over half adults will refuse the new vaccine. The Biden administration's unclear on their next scare tactic to try and elicit votes, but they are definitely trying to do that. Speaking of Joe Biden, I mean, listen, it's just a trickle down effect. I mean, you know, you know what? I tell you what, Brandon, let's do this. Play clip number 1 for me. This should tell you everything you need to know. Clip number 1.
I hope this experience for the speaker has been one of a personal revelation. I'm not being facetious. Anyway.
As I've said over and over again, people are at a point now where they don't know if they need to put grandpa in hospice or the Senate. This is where we are. Senator Dianne Feinstein passed away over the weekend. She was 90 years old. That's a tragically sad situation when you think about, you know, Dianne Feinstein, in my opinion, not a great human being in terms of what she believed, what she defended, what she pushed. But they did push her in her wheelchair right into the Senate to cast a vote. 12 hours later, she was dead. She went on to, you know, as she cast the vote, her aides were there with her, and she started to repeat what the vote was all about, what the bill she was voting on was all about, and they finally just said, just say yay. 12 hours later, she was dead. It's a sad state of affairs here in America when that's what we're looking at, and that's what we're dealing with. But it trickles down from Joe Biden. It trickles down from Joe Biden. I mean, the logic of continually putting geriatrics, octogenarians, 90-year-olds in the Senate, in the Congress, in the White House is insane. This enough is enough, you know. And again, there are some who are mentally efficient even at that age. There's plenty of those. You can make that defense. But man, my God, dude, these people are on life support. Absolutely. So Dianne Feinstein, she's dead. Speaking of witches, Bill O'Reilly. I'd love to get him on, get him to talk about this show, talk about his newest book. I think he and Martin DeGard have written about 13 of the Killing series now. The latest one, and I think I've read all of them. In fact, I know I have. Just the other day, I read Killing the Witches. That's the latest installment of the Killing series. Killing the Witches, incredible retelling of what happened in not only the founding of America, but during the Salem witch trials. And just insane what people are willing to do to other people. And they do an amazing job of actually taking you through that experience, but then how it affected the founding fathers and how they shaped the Constitution and made sure, vehemently fought to make sure that America did not have a state religion, because so much of the religious fervor is what drove those Salem witch trials. And thank God we don't have a state religion, because people have a tendency to use those things as a power platform to prey on other people. I'm not saying faith is unimportant. I'm not saying your Christianity is not important. But thank God our founding fathers had the foresight, based on the hindsight with the Salem witch trials, to make sure that we weren't going to be governed by religious fanatics potentially, or people's interpretation of Scripture, or any other state-funded, state-founded religion that was driving policy. So that's a good thing. Go check that book out. They do a great job. It's Halloween. You need to read a book about so-called witches. But it was the first example in America of legitimately what we call today cancel culture. All you got to do is accuse somebody. You don't have to prove their guilt, and there's no way that person can prove their innocence. And they do an amazing job of talking about how we are, in the middle of all these witch hunts today. You look at what's going on with the indictments of Donald Trump and on down the line. It's insane what people are willing to do to other people. And tragically, to the loss of life, to completely ruin someone's life, if not completely take that life physically. It's amazing. So get the book Killing the Witches by Bill O'Reilly, just a free little thing. Every time those killing books come out, I love to read them. I know there's those out there who say that Bill O'Reilly's not a historian, he's not a blah, 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 but he's a great storyteller. And they do a fantastic job of adding the footnotes and the proof text and all of those things to get the historical record pretty accurate. So I enjoy those a lot. But Joe Biden, man, he's out of it. And I don't know, man. Eric Adams, New York City, his chief advisor has now called for the closing of the border as New York cannot handle the influx of migrants. Guess what? You know what that makes that chief advisor? He's going to be stunned to find this out, but that automatically makes her an ignorant, heartless racist. She may be chief advisor to a black man who's the mayor of New York, but if she wants to close the border, she is a racist, heartless. She's a coward. That's right. She doesn't love people. So, I don't know if you guys are paying attention to what's going on at the border. Listen, we try to put stuff out there every single day with Texans for Strong Borders. If you're not following at Strong Borders TX on Instagram and on Twitter, X, whatever, you need to, because we're putting some great information out there on a day-to-day basis. And Elon Musk, he has said that, quote, pretty extreme individuals are stealing into the U.S. during a visit to beleaguered Eagle Pass. Said this is insane. This is insane. 5.2 million estimated are in the country now illegally. They've come across plenty more than that, but that we know of have come in under the Biden administration. This is a sad thing. But the most important thing, Brandon, is we want to check in and see what's Taylor Swift doing up in the suite. Is she? Millions of people are streaming across the border. I don't know. Can we see what's going on there in the suite with Taylor? Is she up there? Oh, there she is, right there. Yeah, that's the most important thing. There she is in New York City. I don't see any illegal migrants around her, but there she is. But anyway, Elon Musk went down to the border, and he says it's a major crisis. 5.8 million migrants have illegally stolen into the U.S. since President Joe Biden took office, including 232,927 just last month. Elon, you've seen the images of him down at Eagle Pass. He's doing something that Joe Biden has yet to do. He talked about how dangerous this situation is, and he's not wrong. And of course, he's getting a lot of blowback and pushback because of doing this. And Mayor Roland Salinas Jr., who is he's wants to issue and sign an emergency declaration. He's down there in Eagle Pass. He indicated that, quote, a lot of these migrants, they're single males. They don't want to listen to instructions. They're leaving the facility. Not all these people come in peace. That's exactly right. I mean, they didn't walk all the way up here just so they do what some, American law enforcement official is going to tell them to do. Just feet away from a waiting area occupied by multitudes of military-age male illegal aliens, Musk noted that, quote, what we're seeing here are in some cases some pretty extreme individuals coming through. He talked about the face tattoos, with the tears that note, the markings mean that they've murdered someone, and they're so proud of having murdered somebody that they put a tattoo of one tear on their face for every one person they've killed. Tony Gonzalez, representative of Texas, he said that's exactly right. And this person just declared asylum, and we just let them in. A serial murderer who is proud of their murders. This is insane, added Musk. He said there's roughly, and correct me if I'm wrong, about 2.5 million processed illegals per year. Then it's somewhat debatable how many are sort of unprocessed. But maybe it's like a total of maybe 4 or 5 million illegal immigrants per year. And this number has also reached all-time highs. It's continuing to increase. And the pushback comes from the people who want to protest what I'm saying and say, oh, no, these are people who have been apprehended. I just told you, these people, they're not trying to stay there. And how many of them have been, you tell me how many have been apprehended and then they just deport them. They're not deporting them. They're processing them. And in processing them, they're turning them loose. Many of them are either bussed into the interior of the country, or they're put on airplanes to go wherever they choose to go. They have to report back, but they don't. And so, go to Colony Ridge in Liberty County, Texas. Take a little drive around. It's become a shanty town. I mean, it is a border town that's hours from the border. And it's being funded and it's being built by people who are major contributors to Republican causes and Republican, officials and candidates, as well as office holders. So this is an unfortunate deal that's going on. And let me tell you, the Biden administration absolutely intends to do nothing about it. But the most important thing is what Taylor Swift is doing. Can we check that out and see if Taylor's back there in the suite there? Maybe she's hanging out. Oh, she's celebrating. Maybe she's celebrating some illegal border crossings. I don't know. Obviously, we are sick to death of seeing Taylor Swift when you're trying to watch football. All the more reason to stay away from football. Hey, guys, listen, let's go to a break. But before we do, if you've got loved ones who depend on you, why would you leave anything up to chance in a worst-case scenario? Life insurance gives your family a safety net that can cover expenses so they won't have to worry about money while they're getting back on their feet. So, mortgage payments, college costs, all those things. Luckily, Policy Genius makes finding the right policy simple, and their team of licensed experts are on hand to help talk you through it. Even if you already have life insurance policy through work, it may not offer enough protection for your family's needs, and it may not follow you if you leave your job. Well, with Policy Genius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Policy Genius knows how valuable your time is. Their technology makes it easy to compare life insurance quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Policy Genius has licensed award-winning agents who can help you find the best fit for your needs. And no wonder they have thousands of five-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot. Your loved ones deserve a financial safety net. You deserve a smarter way to find and buy it. Head over to policygenius.com/Chad. Click the link in the description of this show. Get your free life insurance quote. See how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/Chad. We'll be right back. All right, Brandon, you and Joe hanging out there in the mothership, man. I got a question for you, Brandon.
Uh-huh.
Do you pay attention to any football? Are you watching any of this stuff? Like,
oh yeah.
Do you ever watch any of that?
Yeah, I'm a big football. I watch everything. Football. Well, not really baseball till playoffs, but football, basketball. Yeah, I was watching was watching Chief Jets last night, cheering on Zach Wilson, trying to see if he can not embarrass BYU any further.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Yeah, being a BYU guy yourself, that's true. I didn't even think about that. And I saw so many times Taylor Swift sitting up there in the booth. I discovered that she should not stand next to Blake Lively. That is not a good deal, and I don't care if I make the Swifties mad. That's okay, because again, one of these is not like the other. One is hot, the other is not. And again, no, I don't. I could care less about what Taylor Swift looks like. I'm not here to objectify these girls. They do that themselves. But Taylor, I find it interesting. Does she have like some kind of documentary coming out, like her Eras tour? Is there a movie or something?
Yeah, I believe she has a movie coming out that's essentially like a documentary / like performance of her Eras
concert.
Tour. Yeah, and it's gonna make you know $1 bajillion because, like her or not, Taylor Swift is this generation's Michael Jackson. Like she's a
moneymaker.
She is a cultural icon, whether or not you agree with some of the other stuff.
Yeah, and more power to her. I mean, more power to her. She's the biggest thing since Oprah as far as a woman in entertainment. Obviously, I mean, she's for all intents and purposes a billionaire. Listen, when you're worth $750 million, I go ahead and round up. I just round up to $1 billion.
Oh yeah, and I mean, you think of like some of these artists selling their discographies for $250-300 million. Taylor Swift's only 33. Yeah. She's going to release 10 more albums. Her discography is going to be worth $18 billion by the time she retires.
Oh yeah, and she'll have songs for every guy she's screwed.
Oh yeah,
and I don't know that this Travis Kelce thing. I don't know that that's a real deal. I just have a hard time believing it. Suddenly he's pushing Bud Light and Pfizer vaccines, which again the astounding sum of $20 million was the thing we floated around last week. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'd put on a couple of Band-Aids and do a commercial for $20 million maybe. But she's got the thing coming out, so it's good publicity for all of this stuff, and there's no doubt that I think you wouldn't have to track very far. You'd find some Soros money behind people like Taylor Swift. I could connect the dots for you, but I don't want to go too far in there and mess with you Swifties. And the Swifties get a little pissy.
They are not
if you mess with a girl.
They're not a good group to anger. I will say that. Now the plus side is you should be watching more Chiefs football because Patrick Mahomes is the Michael Jordan of the NFL. So, like, even if you don't like the NFL,
you think so?
I do. Even if you don't like the NFL, watch just for Patrick Mahomes because he's insane. Yeah. It's unreal.
Joe, you agree with that? You giving the thumbs up back there on Mahomes? Yeah. I tell you, you got a little Texas Tech, baby. I like Mahomes. I think he's cool. I think Brittany Mahomes is probably pretty pissed off that she's not she's not the darling of the ball right now. She's not Cinderella at this point. Do we have that clip of Taylor with Brittany
right there?
I mean, look at her. I'm just gonna cut her right off.
Oh, and Ryan Reynolds is there, and no one noticed.
No, nobody noticed. Although Ryan was doing everything he could. Ryan Reynolds was doing everything he could to be the attention whore that he is.
Yeah.
And more power to him. But then again, there's his wife, Blake Lively, standing next to Taylor Swift, and that's just not good. That's just not a good thing. But they're just having a party in the suite up there, and there was speculation last week when she left the Chiefs game. Did they take her out in the popcorn machine or something like that? But I can't, because there's thousands of people, or hundreds of people, I should say, were standing around the suites waiting to watch her exit.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the whole deal. I know I'm talking about this ad nauseum, but it's just our misplaced priorities are insane. We're sending $223 million a day to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And the border crossings are insane. What's happening there? Inflation is crazy. We're indicting former presidents. And I listen. It's the Roman Empire all over again. Let's just keep them entertained with the circus while Rome burns. It pisses me off to no end that we're continually having to flash over to Taylor Swift when real things are going on.
Yeah,
and this is not.
I do think this might be on the NFL's part a conspiracy to get her to play the halftime show, because she's up until now kind of refused to do it. But you can imagine if she performs the halftime show at the Super Bowl, that's going to be the most watched Super Bowl in history by a mile.
Yeah. Who is supposed to do? Who is slated? Was it Usher? Did I hear that?
Yeah, it's Usher.
That Usher is supposed to do this year's Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of the Super Bowl way, right? That's what the NFL does. They trot out these has-beens. Yeah. And again, they're still superstars, but they're not in their prime anymore. I mean, you look at all the guys that have played, from Tom Petty to Bruce Springsteen to Beyonce and Usher now and Prince even. I mean, they're still top of the game, but they're not in their prime. Yeah. Not in their prime. So I don't know if they could get Taylor Swift. I mean, she is definitely in her prime. Again, I'm all for people's success. I really am. I really am. I love free market capitalism. I say get all the money you can get. And that's the nature of the beast of what we've built here in a free market economy in America. People can go out there and do it. They can spend their money on whatever they want. They can believe whatever they want, even if you disagree with them. They can have a differing opinion. They can spend their money to support and promote those opinions. And that's the America we live in, and that's just the real deal. But we ought to be able to make fun of it. I think we should be able to make fun of it. Like, especially if we disagree with somebody, we should be able to call them out. I as I am wont to do, I like to every Sunday morning, I just post a random verse from Scripture, usually the words of Jesus. I don't put a verse, I don't put a chapter, I don't put anything. I just put the words of Jesus out of the context. I put them on my Chad Prather Facebook page, and I watch the world go nuts. It's fantastic to watch. It really is. And yesterday I posted from Matthew chapter 7, where Jesus said, "Hey, hypocrite, you worry about the speck that's in your brother's eye. Why don't you remove the plank from your own eye? Then you can deal with the speck in your brother's eye." And there were a lot of people who were mad at me about that because, again, they said, "Well, you're a hypocrite. You make fun of people on here," and I'm like, "Well, I mean, I recognize I got the planks in my eye, and I'm working on getting them out so I can watch your fat ass walk on water." But there's like, "There you are, you're fat shaming," and I'm like, "Well, the Lord says gluttony is a sin, so take it up with the Lord." The point is, people get really bent out of shape if you point something out or have a differing opinion, or you poke fun at something, or you ridicule or mock it or anything. That's very different from being judgmental. That's just finding humor in everyday situations, and sometimes at other people's expense. And believe it or not, comedy has actually been built on that. Is ridicule is actually in the job description. You've heard me say that many, many times. It should be okay for us to do that. Now, this NFL thing, I'm going to keep making fun of that because it's a joke. The fact that you just leave them alone, let them have their little love affair. It's so sweet. It's so cute. I'm sure her ex-boyfriend of 6 years thinks it's beautiful. But if you don't call out the nonsense that's being paraded in front of you, then again, while civilization and culture and society and values and ideals are burning down around you, just be glad that we're doing it from a humorous standpoint, because what's happening is the wool is being pulled over your eyes. I mean, the curtain, the great and powerful Oz is back there working his magic and his light show. And meanwhile, the Wicked Witch of the West out there is destroying the world as we know it. So at some point in time, you got to pull back the curtain, and ridicule and mocking and a little bit of humor is a good way to do that. So that's exactly what we're doing. And in the next segment, we're going to mock the hell out of Jamaal Bowman, self-proclaimed member of the squad. It could not happen to a better person. And remember, Jamaal Bowman, before I forget this point, Jamaal Bowman, who, of course, pulled the fire alarm there in the halls of Congress, He said he thought it was an emergency exit. He was just trying to, that was the door release to help him get out because the door was locked. He couldn't get out. And he was in a rush to go get that vote in there. And he didn't want to be late for it, so he pulled the fire alarm. We're going to talk about that a little bit. He came out with a statement on why he did it. He wants you to give him the benefit of the doubt. Now, remember, he's a politician who has never given anyone the benefit of the doubt. And for 10 years, he was a principal in a school, which you would think the principal of all people would know what the fire alarm looks like. Hey, guys. Let's go to break. Before we do, everybody deals with pain from time to time. It's one of the few guarantees that we have in life, along with death and taxes. And when it happens, we sustain it, we deal with it, and we try to move forward. But sometimes there is no moving forward because sometimes it comes back day after day, month after month, until it fills your world and steals the joy you get out of life. And if you're one of those people who experience that type of pain, you know how awful it is. The good news, it doesn't have to stay that way. Relief Factor is a great way to reduce pain, which is mostly caused by inflammation in the joints. And when you take it as directed, it may absolutely change your life. Now, it's not a drug, but it is developed by doctors. It reduces inflammation in your body. 70% of the people who take it will keep on ordering it because it works. So if you're living with pain, try the 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95. It's a trial pack. Go to relieffactor.com or call them 800-4-RELIEF. That's relieffactor.com or call them 800-4-RELIEF. We'll be right back. You know, reading that Killing the Witches book over the weekend, it's amazing how we let people get into places of power, and I mean some absolute power, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there are people who don't necessarily deserve to be in power because, again, they are so driven by those opinions and beliefs, so dogmatic with them, they're willing to destroy anybody that doesn't share the same way or may act or think a little differently than them. And they're always looking to do whatever they have to do to retain that power. So the American people were done a disservice this past week with this government shutdown. I know everybody cry me a river over people were going to not get their paychecks and stuff like that. Yeah, they were going to. Trust me, the government shutdown was going to figure out a way to work itself out, and these government employees, they were going to get paid. And these senators and these congressmen, they weren't worried about it because their pay is guaranteed. But again, when you're living in a day and age where all you have to do is just print more money, you're living in a country that just prints more money, modern monetary theory, where debt is good, deficits are great. You print more money without having to back anything up, of value with that what you're printing. You just keep bailing yourselves out. You just keep raising the debt, raising the spending. We can't survive. We're not going to survive, guys. So it's a bad situation. And of course, Jamaal Bowman, which I don't think most Americans out there knew who Jamaal Bowman was before this thing happened. He got busted. He's right there on camera, pulling the fire alarm. There was some signs up there that says, if you'll push the door handle there, in 30 seconds the alarm will sound, but the door will open. He reaches over and he pulls the fire alarm. He says he thought it was a release for the emergency exit. He said that's always the door he takes. He released a statement saying, I hope this doesn't become more than what it really was. Brandon, I don't know about you, but it's never crossed my mind to just walk up and see a door that's locked. Let's say you're in a restaurant. You ever been in a restaurant? You walk up and you're like, there's a big red thing on the door. It says there's an emergency exit. If I push this, an alarm will sound. Yeah. That kind of tells you don't go through that door.
Yeah, I mean,
go through another one.
I haven't done it very many times, so haven't set off that many fire alarms in my day.
No, but you've never thought to reach over and say, oh, you know what? The door's telling me not to use this door, but I'm going to reach over and grab this fire alarm and pull it because that'll make everything okay.
Yeah.
That'll release the door.
Yeah, I don't entirely. I mean, look, he was the principal of a public school, and we all know how good the education system is in our public schools. So I guess it's pretty par for the course. But at the same time, if you want to know how a politician is lying, well, they're talking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he's truly, if only those people on January 6th would have known how to vacate Congress, they would have just all pulled the fire alarm.
Yeah.
But again, if he was truly disrupting this vote and delaying this vote, at 22 years, put him in solitary confinement for at least a year and a half without a charge, no ability to get bail, and let's just be done with him. Let's just forget he exists for about 22 years. Give him a couple of felonies, and he'll never be able to vote again. And boom, there you go. But again, he comes out with this statement, which is baloney. Which, I mean, listen, if the statement is true, first of all. This statement is crap, okay? And whoever came up with that statement, they need to be held accountable too, because at that point, now you're just trying to fool everybody, and everybody's complicit in a crime. So, there was a lot of great statements on, Twitter and things like that, and about this explanation of the fire alarm. And let me scroll down here to a couple of these. Let me get to the Blaze TV. Read more. Let me hit the button there. See, I knew where the red button was. I knew to hit it, and no fire alarm went off. But Harmeet Dillon, who of course is an attorney, said whoever put this statement out or gave legal advice on it or tried to cover it up with lies is part of a criminal conspiracy to interfere with the operations of our revered Congress. RICO charges for all involved. Isn't that how it works? It seems to be. If you're one of those extreme MAGA Republicans, according to Joe Biden. Senator Mike Lee of Utah says, does anyone believe that I thought the fire alarm would open the door line? See, if he truly believed that, he doesn't need to be a congressman anyway. I mean, that's a level of ignorance that's on par with Joe Biden, or Kamala Harris, I should say. Jake Sherman's a journalist. He said, for those who work on Capitol Hill, or even those who don't, this makes no sense. One, have you in your life ever activated a fire alarm in a large public building to open a door? Two, there are tunnels that take you from this building straight to the Capitol. It's very easy. I do it daily. Siraj Hashmi said Congressman Jamaal Bowman, who doesn't give his political opponents the benefit of the doubt, is asking his political opponents to give him the benefit of the doubt. David Freiheit said, there is a photo from security footage, so obviously there is a video. Can we see the video to see if it confirms or contradicts Jamaal Bowman's version of events? Because committing a misdemeanor to impede Congress could land him in jail for a very, very long time. No one is above the law, after all, right? And, of course, that's a reference to a tweet regarding January 6th from Jamaal Bowman a while back, where he said, and about Donald Trump, no one is above the law. No one is above the law. That's the exact statement from him. Byron York said, whoever corruptly obstructs, influences, or impedes any official proceeding or attempts to do so, Democratic Rep. Jamaal Bowman set off fire alarm to disrupt House work on averting a government shutdown, triggered evacuation of House office building. And it goes on and on and on and on. Any member of Congress would think it's appropriate to pull a fire alarm to try and delay Congress from doing its business is shameful. It's unbecoming. He should strongly consider resigning from Congress if he did that. That's Michael Lawler of New York. And so it's very damning on this whole thing. But don't worry. The leader of the squad, AOC, she came out with a statement in defense of Jamaal Bowman, and here's what she said. Play clip number 6.
I'll be honest, it doesn't really make sense to me, his explanation. Have you talked to him? What's going on there?
I mean, listen, I think if you actually do see some of the photos of the signs, I think there's something to be said about the government's about to shut down. There's a vote clock that's going down. The exits that are normally open in that building were suddenly closed.
So you pulled the fire alarm?
So what I am here to say is that House administration and U.S. Capitol Police and Jamaal Bowman are an active, and he's fully participating in saying there was a misunderstanding. But what I do think is important to raise is the fact that Republicans, representatives like Nicole Malliotakis and others, immediately moved to file motions to censure, motions to expel, before there has even been conversations that are finished to even see if there was a misunderstanding here.
God forbid. Now, what she's saying is, what AOC is saying is she wants to have a due process, right? A due process. And I don't. Now, again, we've alluded to witch hunts here a little while ago with the Salem witch trials. I mean, throw justice out the door. The idea of innocent until proven guilty. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do, right? And she's like, we're supposed to have some of that due process here. We should be able to figure out exactly what's going on here before we start rushing to judgment, telling him to resign, putting out articles to censure, those kind of things. No. Remember, we're going to play by your rules now. These are the rules that you established. Now, you got 41,000 hours of video from January 6th. You won't even release those things. Where's the video of Jamaal Bowman? Let's see the video. Now, we got the pictures of it, and he's dead to rights. We've got pictures. Now, the pictures can't lie. Isn't that right, AOC? The pictures can't lie. The pictures tell everything you need to know. I mean, isn't that true? On January 6th, didn't you see the video and the images of people, beating the police officer to death? Oh, and then there's video of him, 20 minutes later out there kind of directing traffic through the Capitol. So what's the deal? Are we gonna get the video and really take a look at Jamaal Bowman? Or are we just gonna believe our eyes right now? Let's take a look at everything we've got out there and let's see if the man truly is innocent. Now, if you want him to be innocent until proven guilty, you got to release it all. We got to hear it all. But the problem is you have these ignorant, stupid-ass Congress people who think that you're ignorant too. And they're going to release a statement that says, well, I hope you don't make more out of this than what's really going on here. No. And I don't know, I'm at a point now where everything that comes out of these people's mouths, and I don't care if they're Democrats or Republicans, that's a lie. It's just an absolute lie. And so we're on our own, folks. I mean, this is borderline anarchy. These people can't get along. They can't come to decisions. There is no bipartisanship. And so, everybody thinks I'm crazy when I said, hey, listen, we need a convention of states. We need Texit. I mean, whatever. When we're talking about, seceding from the nation, oh, the seditious and traitorous. We're not united anymore. And we're certainly not honoring the principles of the Constitution. AOC just said it herself. That due process is dead, right? I mean, that's not, I'm putting words in her mouth, but that's basically what she was saying. We don't do that anymore. So we got a problem. We got a real problem. Brandon, I don't know about you. We got to go to break, but AOC's looking better. I think as she gets older, more mature.
Oh,
that's a pretty good little clip there.
AOC been fine. Yeah. Let's not look. AOC's hotness is a bipartisan subject. You can go across the aisle, and we all agree she's hot. She's crazy, but that's kind of why she's hot.
No, that's kind of true. I want to see her,
Only silver lining to her being in Congress for the next 50 years like Nancy Pelosi.
Yeah, and so, Dianne Feinstein, she was a babe.
Yeah.
Nancy Pelosi was a babe. Mm-hmm. Way back in the day, they were absolute Bettys. Now look at them. Yeah. What is AOC going to look like 50 years from now when she's still in Congress? The bartender days, the Boston University days dancing around will be just
not great.
They'll be long gone. We'll remember those days. But maybe she'll be like Nancy and get some fresh titties.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Maybe a BBL. Well, she doesn't need a BBL. She's Latina. But yeah, I look forward. Look, she's got at least 20 years of still being hot on the plus side. So our country could be dissolved by the time she gets ugly.
Yeah, and to me, she'll always be a young lady. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Anytime we're doing this show, we're talking about anything important, I like to cut away to Taylor Swift. I just want to make sure that Taylor's at the suite, she's being taken care of. She's there with Travis Kelce's mom, and condescending. No, there she is. She's coming in. She's coming in through security there. She's down in the inner bowels of the stadium there. Oh, she's there with Blake Lively and. Yeah, there she is. You just got to go through the metal detector and the whole thing. Blake is looking good. Oh, there's Ryan Reynolds. Look at there. That's what we care about. And that's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, it is. Hugh Jackman. Deadpool and Wolverine.
What the hell is going on at this stage in the game, dude? I'm like, what?
I don't know. Although, to be honest,
Hugh Jackman just...
I'll take Taylor Swift nonsense all day, every day over BLM at the football games.
Yeah. I mean, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. But, I mean, they still got the end racism stuff on the goalpost and in the end of the end zone and stuff. And apparently we haven't ended it yet. So, either way, trust me, I don't want to say what I'm going to say. Hugh Jackman, who just announced his separation from his wife of, I don't know, forever, 20 years, 25 years, 30 years. I don't know how old Hugh Jackman is, but they've been together a long time. So he's out making the scene there in New York at the Jet Stadium. So hanging out with Taylor Swift. I don't know how you get that invite, but boom, there it is. That's what's important, folks. Don't you ever forget it. But I like how Taylor Swift's going through the metal detector like a plebe, like she's just a peasant. They're just checking her bag. I mean, what do you think's in Taylor Swift's bag, I wonder how much that bag costs. I think the girl's got like 7 or 8 homes across the country, and I think the cheapest one is, I think the one here in Nashville that she had, I don't know if she still had it. I think she bought that one for like $1.8 million when she was down hard on her luck, and I think that was like a 3,000 square foot penthouse downtown, and now she's got like a 47 in New York. She's got like a 4-story condo there that I think she bought. Paid cash, $47 million. So that's impressive. Don't ask me how I know these things. Maybe I'm a secret Swiftie. Maybe I'm a Swiftie. I'm a Blake Lively. I know that. What's up? But again, let's take you back to what's really going on in the country. There she was. She had to go through Taylor Swift at the New York Jets game. She had to go through security. And they had to make sure she wasn't carrying anything in her bag or whatever. She had to go through the metal detector. So did Wolverine. I don't know how Wolverine goes through the metal detector without that adamantium skeleton setting things off, but there he was. But take a look at this. Play clip number 11.
Nos cogieron ayer.
There. No metal detectors there. In fact, they're cutting the metal. That's U.S. military officials. Somebody's even clapping as these illegal migrants, illegal aliens are walking into the U.S. with the aid of, the National Guard, who's cutting the razor wire. Does anybody else find anything wrong with this? Taylor Swift went through more security to get into the New York Jets game to see her boyfriend play football. Taylor Swift's worth $750 million. She had to go through security. These folks down here at the southern border walking in from God knows where had the gates thrown open for them in the way of having the razor wire cut on their behalf and pushed aside so that they could walk on in. Send every one of them to New York City. Send every single one of them to New York City. Send them to Washington, D.C. Send them to Chicago. Listen, if they're here, they're here. Let's put them where they said they wanted them. Send them to San Francisco. Send them to Los Angeles. Send them to Sacramento. Send them to Gavin Newsom. Send them to Kathy Hochul. Send every damn one of them. And again, this is not cruel. This is common sense. You say, we need compassion. You're about to not know. We're going to lose all concept of compassion. These people have no intention of assimilating. They're going to, as I said last week, you love your stuff. They love your stuff too. These people are coming into this country not to assimilate, not to become American citizens, not to obey your laws, not to honor your Constitution. They're coming in here to take over, and that is exactly what's going to happen. We're about to enter into an age of lawlessness here in the United States. Globalism is here. It's not going away. Send them to New York City. Every single one of these human beings, send them to New York City. Someone said to me the other day, well, if we'd stop giving them jobs, they'd quit coming. There's 150,000 illegal migrants that we know of right now in New York City that they're dealing with. They don't have jobs. They're not coming here because we're giving them jobs. The level of ignorance that it takes to believe that nonsense is purely stupid. You want to hear from Kathy Hochul? You want to hear what she's got to say? Kathy Hochul, who wanted a sanctuary state, she wanted New York to be the sanctuary state. She's now flipped the script. Take a look at this. Look at clip number 7.
Well, we want them to have a limit on who can come across the border. It is too open right now. People coming from all over the world are finding their way through, simply saying they need asylum, and the majority of them seem to be ending up in the streets of New York, and that is a real problem for New York City. 125,000 newly arrived individuals and we are being taxed. Now, we are always so proud of the fact that New York has the Statue of Liberty in our harbor. We are one of the most diverse places on earth because of our welcoming nature, and it's in our DNA to welcome immigrants. But there has to be some limits in place, and Congress has to put more controls at the border, and not in this budget threat, shutdown threat. Talk about eliminating positions for Border Patrol when we actually need to double or quadruple those numbers.
Yeah, let me tell you what Kathy Hochul said in December of 2021. She said, "Where people who left religious persecution or left wars, left oppression, left extreme poverty, like my own grandparents, Crimea River, leaving Ireland with nothing, that is what we have always viewed as our responsibility to the rest of the world." That's what she said in 2021. She said, "But because of that, we are far better, more enriched, diverse state, and that's a huge point of pride for all New Yorkers." As you know, the Statue of Liberty. See, she just said, yeah, we got the Statue of Liberty. It says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to be free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore." And that statement encapsulates our values. We want people to come here despite where they came from or despite the circumstances that drove them to this country, into this state. She said, we say you are welcome here. You are welcome with open arms, and we'll work to keep you safe. We'll not only house you, we'll protect you, and the richness of the culture and the diversity and the food and the restaurants that we know are going to be coming because of these efforts are beyond measure. It says it's an extraordinary part of our story, woven into the story of New York, and it makes us more vibrant. Where are those words now, Kathy Hochul? Send every single one of these people coming through the razor wire to Kathy Hochul. She said in December 2021 she wants them, therefore let her have them. We'll be right back. All right. Well, folks, it's been a Monday. Got all kind of things. Tomorrow, I will not forget my laptop there at the hotel in downtown Nashville. I'll make sure to bring it in here so I'm not having to refer to my phone and pages. And who knows, I may even put a clean shirt on tomorrow. I doubt it. Yeah. I like coming to Nashville because I can just come in here and chill. Look at that. Look at just bare-legged and everything. Look at that thing right there. They're going to fire me for being lazy. But are they? We'll see. You guys, I'm sitting here text messaging some folks over in Alabama right now, getting ready to go over there next week to the Stardome, Hoover, Alabama. It's pretty cool, man. I want you guys to be on the lookout. I'm headed to the other recording studio down in Brentwood right now. We're putting some more vocal tracks and some finishing touches on some songs that are going to be coming out later this year, as well as the first of the year. I'm excited about them, but don't forget our new Christmas song. My new Christmas song is coming out. I'd Be Jolly Too. You're going to love this thing. Sent it to one of my chief critics yesterday. I sent it to my oldest daughter, and she said, I cannot get that song out of my head. It's called I'd Be Jolly Too. It should be out mid-November in time for Christmas, and I promise you're going to love this song. It's fun, it's funny, and once it gets in your head, it will never get out. Maybe I will be the new Mariah Carey. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll be the new Taylor Swift. I kept seeing Aaron Rodgers sitting up there watching the game in his suite. He didn't have the same fanfare around him that Taylor Swift had around her. But then again, we don't know who he's dating on the field. We don't know who he's watching. But he looked awfully lonely sitting up there in a very tight game. By the way, Taylor Swift aside, the Chiefs won, okay? Hey, I'm getting out of here. We'll see you tomorrow. It's Tuesday. We'll have a good time. We love you. God bless you. Talk to you then. Bye.